Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the simp beta debate. Are men losing their edge, or is it just internet talk? What does it actually mean to be a confident, respected, and grounded today? And who should you really be surrounding yourself with? And that is some of the questions we're going to be batting around today. Also, we're not here to attack you. We're just here to talk about some standards when it comes to that. And we're going to switch gears a little later in the program. We're going to talk about the housing and the economy with high gas prices and high interest rates. Should you buy a house today? Is a house something that you should buy with these high interest rates and whatnot that are going on? And what is the future of the economy? And that's going to be my perspective. And where things are needed, what I think I would do, because I've never given any advice on what other people should do. It's just what I should do, what I think is relevant. All right. So we're going to discuss that and a couple of more things on the pod. So stay locked in. Also, remember that we are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7:30 to 8. That's the way I like to use it. And if we run over, we go to about 8:15. All right. So that's what it's going to be today on the Shon Black Podcast. Thank everybody that comes in and supports the channel. I appreciate everything that you do. And we are going to hop into it as soon as we have some people jump into the room. And, I'm sitting a little low today. I don't like, those of y'all that know me, you know that I have a chair problem. And I have to get this chair done because I hate it. It's way too low. It is way, 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 way too low. But welcome in. Thank you for joining the pod. And you know what I'm saying? So today we're going to talk about betas and simps. What up, Keita? We're going to talk about betas. And I stole that from Jesse Lee Peterson. Go watch his program, the Jesse Lee Peterson podcast, if you want to hear him say beta. But we're going to talk about betas and simps today and how that affects you, right? And why, from my perspective, that those type of people are not good to have around in your circle of friends. Not that you can't, hang out with somebody that's a little softer in those ways, but I think that there's a lot that goes into that, and you have to be really careful because somebody that is easily manipulated like a beta, people who don't have any backbone, those type of individuals are dangerous to you, they're dangerous to your family, and they're dangerous to your career. And you're going to find most of those individuals, unfortunately, you're going to find most of them individuals at your place of work. Okay, most betas that you're going to come in contact with are going to be at your place of employment. Okay, those people who don't respect you, and everybody knows who they are. And and the question also is, can a beta be a woman? I don't know. I think they got beta women. But most of those people are going to be found at your place of employment, but you will also have those who are like people that you grew up with, people that you knew. But most of them are going to be at your place of employment. Those are where you're going to find the real betas, because that's where you're going to see the test. It's not that they're all there, right? But that's where you're going to uncover the beta, the simp, right? Now, you can uncover the simp in your personal life. You can, as a woman, you probably can find a simp. Those dudes that'll do anything that you say, whenever you say it. There's no backbone. There's no pushback. All they want to do is shower you with the gifts and let you run amok. Those are the men we're talking about. Betas! Sometimes there are women betas too. Well, I think there probably are a lot of women betas, but yeah. And those people, you can't have those kind of people around in your circumference. It's nothing wrong with hanging, like, talking with them and all that, but they can't be closely aligned with what you're doing. They can't be closely in your circle of trust. See, circle of trust, they need to be way over there or way over here. They can't be in the middle of the circle of trust because the beta can't be trusted. And the reason is because when the pressure is on to do the right thing, the beta always thinks about himself, him or herself. They're easily manipulated. The beta is easily manipulated. That's why they're betas in the first place. They'll know something is wrong and still do the wrong thing because the right thing is too hard and they're manipulated by whomever is in control of them. It's easy to control a beta. All you do is put pressure on a beta and the beta is controlled. And so you can't have those kind of people around you. Say you're trying to do something that is really important in your life. And that thing needs to have serious secrecy. Like you can't have anybody in there knowing about what you're about to do, what's going to happen. You need serious secrecy. If the beta gets too much pressure, come on, honey, tell me what the heck is going on. I need to know. The beta just going to go ahead and spill the beans. The beta is they are not loyal. They're not loyal to you. They're only loyal to whomever has control. So you can't trust a beta. Beta, and mostly men. And it's sad that men have lost themselves in that way. A lot of men don't have a spine. They don't have a backbone. Instead of standing up and saying, "Hey, we're not doing that," especially in a relationship. We're not doing that. We're not we're not doing that because I lead the family. I'm a man and I lead the family, right? The beta will be like, "Well, hon, whatever you think is best, then I think that we'll do that." Absolutely not. And this is why you have a lot of houses that are in shambles today. Shambles! A lot of houses are in shambles because there's betas in the house. And then, and it's now, does that make them bad people? No, they just don't have a spine. They have zero spine. A beta has zero spine. Are you hearing me out there? Zero spine. And let's keep it real, ladies. Are you attracted to a beta? There's a lot of women that watch the Shon Black Podcast. Are ladies attracted to betas? That is the question that we're going to answer today. Are you attracted to a beta male? I would assume that the answer is no. And women that are attracted to those kind of men, good night. What is their lives like? Like they can't really enjoy themselves. Like, are you enjoying yourself if your husband or your significant other or your boyfriend is a beta and you just control him all day? Does he sit down and cry? Do you hand him a tissue when there's a movie present? Do you sit there and you say, "Clean yourself up. Clean yourself up. You should be ashamed of yourself"? Do you do that? Do you want to? That scene was just it touched me. It touched me so. Do you want your man crying in the movie theater? Do you want your man that like Perfect example of a beta. I don't know if any of you have seen this video, but there was a video of a guy and this girl that were on a vacation. They went, I don't know, to some foreign country. If I find it, I will post it. If you find it, post it in the chat. But there was a guy who went on vacation with this lady, and the lady was getting, she was getting robbed by some guy with a sharp object, right? Instead of him protecting the lady and trying to fight the assailant off, this dude went and hid. He hid. And as he's hiding, the lady's fighting for her life. She's fighting, and luckily, some alpha males came from off the street and helped this young woman out, and they took the guy to the ground and wrestled the sharp object out of his hand and all of that. And then the guy has the nerve to come back over there and like try to console this woman as a female. How did you not know that this dude was a beta male? Can that guy be trusted? I don't think he can be trusted, and I don't think that the young lady would trust him. I don't think he's trusted. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that. Was that, it says it was in Colombia, huh? Oh, here it is. Let us watch. Let us watch. I'm gonna see if we can get the sound, and let me see if I can pull it up, and so you guys can watch this. All right. Let's go here. Let's get this window. Let's see. There it is. I'm gonna move it down so we can see this. There is no sound, so please hold on. Bear with me. Oh, it didn't work. All right, so we're gonna flash forward. So I don't know how well you guys can see this. All right, but here's the guy. Now look at him. Look at him running. This is his wife or his girlfriend. There. Let's back up. Now here's his girlfriend. Look at, woman fights off robber while her companion hides behind a wall. Now there they are. They're talking. Look at him. He's running. He's got a sharp object in his hand. Look at him. He doesn't even know what to do with himself. Look at him. She's fighting for her life. Look at there goes some alpha. Alpha. And they wrestle him to the ground. They wrestle him to the ground. Ladies, are you telling me that that's attractive? Look at, there he is. Now he's trying to console the woman after you hid. After you hid. And let's go back here. But after you hid, after you hid from the man, then you tried to say whatever it is that you were going to say. Beta! Who wants a beta as a man? You cannot. Now, can that woman trust that man to do anything? Can he be trusted? I think not, ladies and gentlemen. I think that gentleman, that woman cannot trust that man ever again in her life in any female or any person that is with that person cannot be trusted at all. You have to have a spine. You have to have a backbone. As a man, you have to have a spine. Can't just allow things to go down and happen. You have to have a spine and a backbone. And if you have zero backbone or a spine, or your person is getting assaulted, and you running and hiding behind the building, you all saw it. Beta. And these people cannot be trusted. And it's the same thing in your work environment. Because that guy right there is the guy that you'll befriend, and he'll turn around to save his own skin. He'll turn around and throw you right under the bus along with everybody else because he's a lame. This is the way it is. You might be a nice guy. You might be able to talk to him and say this or say that, do this or do that. But the bottom line is that he can't be trusted. It can't be trusted. And so that's the question. Can you trust them? And the answer, in my opinion, is no. As a man, as a woman, is that attractive? The fly Puerto Rican you're in here, is that attractive? Let people know in the comments if that's attractive to you. That can't be attractive. And no man that is running around looking like that, talking like that, acting like that cannot. I don't know how that is an attractive individual to somebody. I don't know how that's attractive. I don't know how that's attractive. I'm saying that a beta. So we just played the video of the guy in, I think it's Brazil, who his girlfriend that he was traveling with was attacked by a guy with a sharp object trying to rob her, and he ran around the building and hid. But that's what betas do. That's the kind of stuff that they do. And so those type of men attractive. Is a beta male attractive? It can't be. So if they're unattractive in that way, how can you trust them? It's about a level of trust, right? If you're out with a with it out with a if you're out what? Oh no, I see what you said. Yeah, if you're out with a man and there's no protection there, how do you look at him the same? Then do you expect that person to treat you or in his colleagues any different when they're at the job when trouble is afoot? Nah, they ain't doing none of that. I don't trust you. Exactly. You can't be trusted. So if the beta can't be trusted, it's what I said. The beta cannot be trusted at all. You can't trust the beta. They are not attractive. Exactly. There's nothing attractive about that. There's nothing attractive about that at all. Betas are not attractive. Hmm. That's right. You're in distress, and he ran and left while his woman was fighting for her daggone life. He ran. There's nothing attractive about that. Ain't nothing attractive about that, man. And so, and if the person can't be trusted, if they can't be trusted in relationship, how do you trust them on the job? How do you trust them in your friend group? How do you trust them? How do you trust that person in your friend group? That beta in your friend group? You can't trust that person. That's right. But then also in your friend group, how do you can you trust that person in your friend group? You can't trust that person in your friend group. can't go to that person and be like, yeah, you know, this, that, because the beta gets pressure. He's telling. He or she is going to tell. You can't trust them, period. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. You can't trust the beta at all. You can't trust them. Can't trust them in life. You can't trust them at all. Why? Because the beta is only it doesn't have the backbone or the spine to stand on principles. Oh yeah, you can't even if a dude or a female is afraid, right? There are some people that are just afraid and they'll try everything in their power to try to protect you. If they get beat, okay, they get beat. That doesn't mean that he ran away. You know what I'm saying? But somebody who's willing to run and leave a female to fend for herself, anybody who's willing to do what a beta does, I mean, it's just you just can't have that in your life, and it doesn't matter what people are talking about. If you're not doing if you're not doing what's good and what's right, you are a beta. 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 You are a beta male. Beta man, beta man. Beta. What up, Daz? We are talking about betas and why the beta can never be trusted. The beta can never be trusted ever. Because as a beta male, you have zero idea about what you are doing in life. So beta male should be with nobody. They should be only other betas. And this isn't what I was, this is just one of the topics we were talking about. Because you can't trust the beta to do that, and you can't trust the beta in finances. You know what I'm saying? And this is where we're going to segue. You know what I'm saying? Can you trust the beta in finances? No. Can't trust them in any aspect of your life. You know what I mean? Would you buy a house with a beta? No, if you're not going to date them, you wouldn't buy a house with them, right? And that's just and that's what it is. And speaking of buying houses, the next question that I'm bringing to the table is: should you buy a house in this climate? As we looking at the economy today, should you buy a home? Let's say you have the money to do it. Should you do it? I believe the answer to that question is no. I don't think you should buy a home in this climate. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think. And here's my lately two chicks holding each other's hands, crying. Oh my goodness! Get the heck out of here. She said, "I'm going to say no." Yeah, because it's common sense. You're exactly right. It's common sense. You don't want no weak dude telling you. You might not like what your strong, tough dude says. You might not like it, but you respect the fact that he's not a weak dude. You know what I mean? You respect the fact that he's not a weak dude, and so you don't want to date a weak dude, and you don't want a weak man in today's climate because housing prices and interest rates and all that are too high. And the reason why I'm talking about that today is, should you buy a home in today's climate? Definitely not with a beta. You don't want to do that. But in general, should you buy a house in today's climate? And I think even if you have the money, I don't think it's a smart idea. And the reason is that today's houses, like if you look at a house what it was 4 years ago and you look at a house today, significant. Like where I live at, my house is it's incredibly small. Right. My house is it's a lot of money now. Now that helps me, the homeowner, yes. But are you coming in? If something happens to the economy, you're underwater in the house because the value of the house in the neighborhood is going to drop. I wouldn't buy a house because that house that you paying 5, 6, 700,000 for, if the economy tanks, you still on the hook for 700, 500, 400. You still on the hook for that. So the economy drops, the housing market drops like it did in '09. Everybody in '09. Maryland, what up? Everything that happened in '09, you know what I'm saying, should tell you '08, '09, when people bought all those houses with adjustable rates and um yeah, people were losing their hands, and I'm not saying that this is the same situation, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you should really, 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 really look into whether you should buy a home, where you should buy a home, what state you live in. Look at the laws. How are the taxes going to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Is there a chance that the interest rates will go up or down? Will the taxes go down? I know me, I have a 30-year fixed mortgage, but that doesn't mean that my mortgage is not going to go up because taxes will go up. You know what I mean? Taxes are a real thing. You can't just, like, come on now. We really have to think about, like, I think people go and they say, I want to buy a home. Not with your beta. With a strong alpha male, you want to, as a woman, you want to go and buy a house, have that forever home with a guy that's a strong man, that you can raise your kids if you're young, if you're old. If you're old, um, you have your older man and you had kids, and if you're a single man or woman and you want to buy a home, make sure that you do all your homework, because you do not want to get stuck in a situation where you owe the bank and you can't get out from underneath your house. Can't get out from under sun. I know people that did that they couldn't get out from underneath their houses, and it was years. They wanted to move, they wanted to do it. They were like 200,000 underwater because they bought at the top of the market when houses, were shot up because of interest rates and all of this kind of stuff. And the bottom dropped out in '09, and they were stuck in the houses that they hated. They hated their houses. They wanted to move. Their families were getting bigger, and they couldn't because they were 200,000 underwater. Nobody was going to pay, you know what I'm saying, 400,000 for a townhouse when the going rate was like 205. Who was good? Like, who in their right mind was going to do that? Nobody was going to do that. And so I would hope that every person out there would look at the housing market and say, okay, am I going to live in this house forever? Because I think that's the biggest part. You can buy a house at any price if you plan to never move again. Like, this is it. It's nothing else. I'm keeping this house exactly. I'm never leaving it. You want to pay $1 million for a house that used to be 500,000? You know what I mean? All right, cool. What up, though, bro? That's right. That's right. What up, George? Son, that's my dude right there. My brother. My fam entered the building. What up, George? That's what you want to be in the house. That's your forever home. And just like my homie just came in and said that's why he waited. He just got a nice joint. But he waited a long time and was able to jump from one spot to the other. But like for a guy like myself, right? I live in the house. I want to get a bigger spot, but I know that this ain't the right time to buy for me. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you. There's a lot of people that are billions of times smarter than I am. I just look at things from a real perspective, which is I don't know if this is your forever home. If it is, buy it. It doesn't matter at that point, right? But if it isn't your forever home, and never get into an adjustable rate. That's oh my goodness. Never truer words spoken. Never truer words spoken. Adjustable rates. Could you imagine being in that on adjustable rates? Oh my goodness. I remember a guy that he got an adjustable rates on like a $500,000 house. What up, Kitty? He got adjustable rate on like a $5,000 house, bro. And yo, he said his mortgage at first was like 900, maybe $1,000 a month, and that joint ballooned to like uh 3,500, somewhere around that. It was over 3,000. And they just picked up and left the crib. But that was like in 08, 09, 010, I mean 2010, when that whole Dodd-Frank thing was going on and the housing market was collapsing and all of that. And then here where I lived at, they had so many vacant homes. Were auctioning, people were just leaving houses and they were just picking up and bouncing like, yeah, we out. I wish I would have bought a house then. I had no idea how to buy a house. I had no idea what it was like to buy a home. You know what I mean? I had no knowledge. I knew people who bought homes. My parents had houses. My sister didn't have a house then. Um, I knew a lot of people that had homes. I just didn't personally know. I had a cousin that bought a house around that time. I just had zero idea how to go about, like, what were the steps to buy a house. And by the time I found out, like, we got in right before this market started to go up, right? So our house is a lot, like, our house is probably like 160, like, is what we probably owe on our house now. But the value of our house is probably like almost 400. And that we didn't pay anywhere close to that. Like zero, like nowhere even close to that. And so, you know, that's what I want. That's what I mean. So what are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about what up, kid? We're talking about houses, buying houses right now, and adjustable rates, and if this is a right time to buy for you. Like if you had to buy a house right now, would you buy another house? Would you take the money and buy a house, or would you wait for interest rates and things like that to drop? Would you let the market settle down first? Me, I'm not going anywhere. Though I want a larger home, um, I would like a larger home. We need a larger home. Those of you that been in my house, you know that it's pretty small. And but this isn't the right time to buy. I mean, houses are overinflated, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? The economy isn't too bad. Um, I told a friend of mine the other day, he was like, "Man, the economy is kind of bad." I said, "The economy is what it is. You have to learn how to make money in a good economy or a bad economy. But the economy, nonetheless, is what the economy is. The question is like for me, I want to sell my house, but where do I go? Do I go buy the $600,000 house with the money that I earn, and then let's say the economy tanks, I'm stuck. The value of my home is gonna go like this. You know what I mean? Is that not and not at all refinances are good because they will pull it into adjustable rate without you telling you. Oh, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Yo, because I was talking about with somebody about, with the wife, actually, like, what about if we do a refinance or do like a home improvement thing where we do a lot of like fixing up or whatever in the house, right? And you could borrow against it or whatever. And I'm glad you said that, because I had no idea. I learned something today. This is what the everyday talk is about, because I would have had no idea that they do stuff like that. Do you know somebody personally that happened to, George? If you buy it down here in Florida, you get. That's right. That's the plan. So, eventually that's the plan. Us going to Florida and buying a house out there in your area, most likely, and buying an ice cream truck like Big Worm, and be on the beach selling ice cream for the rest of my life. And I wanted to, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't think it's the right time. I think that even with, doesn't matter about all the other stuff that's happening in the world, that has zero to do with it. Your interest rates were already too high. I mean, I saw interest rates at some point that were like 9% back a few years ago. Yo, little Chuck, what up? I saw interest rates as high as 9%. You know what I'm saying? And then I think they're around like 5 or 6%, but that's still low. I mean, I got mine for 3.2. Yes, I ain't no way I'm gonna buy a house at 6%. I'm just not doing that. And I remember when I was in not elementary. I think I was in middle school. My parents bought a house, and their mortgage rate was 9%. That was crazy. 9%. They only paid like 90,000 for this house, which is super low back in the late 80s. I mean, that was super low, but I guess the point of the whole discussion is, you never know. It's just not a right. I don't think it's a good time to buy a house. You always do what's good for you. Again, I'm not a financial a person. A lot of real estate agents will tell you something different. They'll say, "Well, this is the perfect time. This is that." I get it. Again, I wouldn't do it just because I want my interest rates low, and I want to feel like I'm getting more for my money. And I'm not paying, if a house is $500,000, but I look on a place and it says that house 2 years ago was 380. I'm not paying. I'm not doing that, because now, if I pay the five or whatever, and it again, and if things go down, then I'm stuck. Then I'm stuck. Say, yeah, it happened to one of my homeboys, mortgage of 1,500, and he refied his mortgage, went to 13, and then the following year the rate went up to, his mortgage ended up to be like 2,300. See, that's crazy. It's not even interest rate, but it's the price of the house. Yeah, it's the price. Look, the price of the house. It's the price of the house, the price of the house, the price of the house. And are you going to get a deal for your money? Again, if that is your forever home, you're never moving. You love the state you live in, you love the community that you're in, you've always wanted to live there. You finally got a house. It didn't matter if you paid over market value for the house, or if the house is inflated, you didn't care because you have zero intentions of leaving. Okay, then that's cool, right? It's like buying that car that you know is going to lose value, but you always wanted that car, and it didn't matter how much money you paid for it. You're just going to pay for it because that is going to be something that you're going to keep forever. I get that. I'm not buying a house just because it has more space, and I don't feel attached to it like that. Sometimes buyers market, sometimes sellers market, sometimes both. That's right. And right now it's a seller's market because dudes is selling their houses for astronomical prices. Like anytime you can take a house that was at one point only worth like it was worth like $200,000 and you're selling it for 500,000 and 600,000, like that's insane. Not to say that that's not a good thing for people that are selling their homes. I get that, all of that. I mean, I want to do the same thing. I want to sell my house, but at the end of the day, where do I go? Am I gonna go buy a house? Am I gonna get a house that I'm gonna pay so much money for that I'm not gonna get the value out of it? You know what I mean? And is that gonna be my forever home? Nah, I don't. I don't think the next house, if I buy a next house, if the next house I buy, it won't be in the state that I live in, and I it won't be this small. Like this house was cool when we first bought it because our kids were tiny. You know what I mean? Our kids were really small, so the house fit the family. But you don't think about, dang, the kids are gonna grow up, and it's gonna be like we're all roommates living in here because everybody is a daggone looks like they're a grown adult. You don't think about stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I know I didn't. I know I didn't at all. And and that brings me to the economy. And I spoke a little bit about it. Um, the economy is what it is, good or bad. There's money to be made on both sides of that. You know what I mean? You're saying not just the price of the house, it's also the property taxes, the insurance rate. My advice for the property taxes is get a homestead with the property. Exactly. That's crazy you say that. And I'm gonna go back to the other point that I was gonna make, but it's funny you say that because we've been talking about buying a homestead. Like me, my sister, my mother and father, you know what I'm saying? We just all three of us, family wise, buying like, 10 acres of land or something like that and building on that down there in the state that you live in Florida. We thought about that. And because that's what it's all about, right? Get one of those barn dominium joints and put it on there and landscape that joint and keep it moving and say keep rolling the account, roll into your mortgage. That way your interest, the tax rates are covered. That's right. Look, I wish I knew this stuff back when I was 25. Nobody taught us anything. And if it's one thing that you should do is teach your kids how to do the same, teach them now what it is that they do. Make them go out and buy a home. He said in 5 years, let's sell in. That's it. That's the goal, Chuck. You welcome to come to the compound. Everybody's welcome to come to the compound. Because the bigger the compound is, the better. You know what I'm saying? Grow your own food, raise your own animals. You know what I mean? Look at what people are, back in the day did. They lived on compounds. People didn't just really like live in cities like that, but they lived in compounds and they had their families and they took care of each other and stuff, and that's what it's all about. At least for me, anyway. I didn't realize that that's exactly what everybody needs to do until you are exposed to it. And then once you're exposed, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I had the wrong mindset. My mindset was messed up. So my advice, Shon Black's advice, research, research, research. Number one, from the first topics, no betas. We do not allow betas within the circle. If you're a beta, you are not allowed in the circle. That's the first thing. Second thing, research, research, research. You have to pull in the research to make sure you're making good, sound decisions, whether it's houses, cars, family life, anything. Everything is research. Research, research. Seek wise counsel. Find people who are smarter than you. Look at my homeboy George that just came in a joint. He obviously knows more than me. I'm gonna sit there and research exactly what he's telling me, not because I think he's wrong, because I want to get all the information. You see what I mean? And you got to research. And the third thing is that it doesn't matter what the economy, it doesn't matter what people say the economy is doing. Understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what people say the economy is doing. Are gas prices high? Yes. Are food prices high? Yes. Is all that? Yes. It is when things like that are going on. It is your time to invest in the stock market. Find things that you can use that people use every day. People are always going to daggone Walmart. You should buy that. People are always going to daggone Target. You should buy that. They're always doing these things, and their stocks are gonna go up. They're gonna go down. But guess what? You don't see people like Warren Buffett. You don't see people like those Fortune 500 dudes complaining about the economy. You say, well, Shon Black, those dudes are rich. It's not about them being rich. It's about them having the mindset saying, hey, if the stock market goes to the red, there's money to be made on the way down. If the stock market is in the green, there's money to be made on the way up. People are never going to stop going to Walmart, Target, and they're not going to stop shopping and buying. They're just not going to stop it. Gas is like, what, maybe three, or well, here where I live at, it's like $4.30 a gallon for regular. Okay? You think that stops people from being on the road? You think this weekend that people were driving around, the restaurants are full. People out there shopping. I don't care what people are telling you. They're going to be out there buying and selling and driving and do that. ExxonMobil gives a dividend. Buy that. Get that. It doesn't matter what people are telling you that the economy is doing. You do what you think is right for your family, and don't be scared to get out there and fall a little bit. My brother-in-law was telling me about some of the mistakes he made in his investment journey. That doesn't mean that his investment journey wasn't valid. You know, get out there, enjoy yourself, find you a family, build a homestead. You want to move out your house, find some people you can trust, and build a for homestead. Yeah, it's expensive. Gas is expensive, bro. Shoot, gas is gas is expensive. But guess what? Eventually, gas ain't gonna be four and some change. Eventually, the houses will be affordable. Eventually, but you have to do some stuff to soften the blow. You got to get out there and you got to hustle and see what's going on. And don't let nobody tell you that you got to lay down and just give it up. Nope. You got a strong dude at home. You got a good, mindful female in the house. You got somebody that's going to be able to help you out when you're in the struggle, when you don't know which way to go. Get on your knees, pray, dude. Give the Lord his praise and his worship, and bro, and he'll direct you straight through it, and he'll put good people around you, not betas. Won't be no betas around you. Won't be no soft people around you. There'll be real, intelligent individuals. Like all the people that come here to the Shon Black Podcast are strong, intelligent individuals who understand and have ideas, and you bat it around and you kick it around, and whether they're right and whether you're wrong, whether it's up or it's down, we come here, we share ideas, and we helping each other. To me, everything that they just put on there, that George and Chuck and Sammy and Keita and everything put out there, is valid. And it's things that help you get to the next level. That's the way I see things. And this is what I think the pod is all about, bro. We have a lot of fun. We talk movies on Wednesdays and Fridays, but on Mondays is our advice days. And that's my advice to you. Do all your research Keep the betas out of your circle. Keep people out of your circle that mean you know that mean you all the harm, and look at your people around you and say, you know what? Let's help each other in a way that is constructive. Help me, ask questions, do research, and you'll thrive. Oh, and most important, give God the glory and worship and celebrate him every day. He said cut folks off. I mean, if they're not, but I'm careful about that because I think every person that I deal with brings something valuable to the table. The beta, you already know the beta just can't be involved. That's the beta can't be involved. But everybody that I know that I speak to brings something valuable to the table. I think that people are valuable and they bring a lot of things to the table. Know what I mean? But I'm about to end it right here, everybody, because Shon Black is over time. I didn't, you start talking about good conversations, man, and it just can go on forever. Um, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, you know how we do it. Uh, I think it's 50, 30, 20. 50% bills, 30% travel, 20% because you have to budget for your mental health. That's right. You still have to be happy and have fun in your life and nothing. That's right. You can't just work all your life. You have to have a good time. But I think the good time also comes from just being around good people to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like right now, you down there with your people out there in Florida, you having a good time. Sometimes the good time isn't about, you know, flying here and being there and doing that. Sometimes it's just sitting across from somebody that and having a good meal. Like me and Sammy, my sister was around. We sat down and ate with them. It was a good time. You know what I mean? My kids were happy with that. You know what I mean? We went out for my daughter's birthday. That was a good time. We went out. The ladies got together and had dinner one time with Dez and Sammy and some of the girls from her job. Man, that was a great time. You know what I mean? Little Chuck, when you go to mom and pop's house, you know what I'm saying? You have a good time. When I came down to Florida to my man George and them house, we had a good time. I mean, if the good time is just being with the people, bro. That is the good time. You forget about that because when you're a kid, like for y'all that don't know, I known George since I was probably like 14 years old. Some people that come on to this thing that I've known them since I was a teenager, right? When you think about the good time, we had good times because we were always with each other. You know what I'm saying? We were always like that dude was at my house, I was at his house constantly. We had a good time because we talked and we laughed and we joked, and when we get older we forget about that kind of stuff. We're so busy in the rat race, in the stuff that we're doing, that we don't really think about what is fun anymore. And so we try to pull ourselves in all these other directions. We go fly to all these different places. And they're short term, but we don't with the connection is what I'm saying. The connection with good people is the good time. Connect with good, wholesome people. Get the people out of your life that don't want that kind of energy. And I hate using that word, but they don't want that. Get those people out of your life. Connect with people that have your best interests in mind. Your best interests. People that love and care for you, your best interest. There's nothing. I don't have to give them nothing. They don't have to give me nothing. All we want is good company. When you have those type of people around, that's a good time. And then those people share, and then with those people, you share your ideas and you tell them what you're thinking, and you bat around what they tell you and take what they say and say, you know what, bro, I'm gonna look into that. Exactly. Life is about the Lord, people, and connections. That's what life is about. And if you want your life to mean something, it means something. It's not just having a family, but it's also having a good community of people that are around you and that help you grow as an individual, that you can share your time. And that's right, man. I love you too, bro. Like that's my day one right there. One of my day one people, bro. We just connected like from when we was young. And you know what I'm saying? We did a lot of crazy stuff together. And as a kid, and then now as an adult, you know what I'm saying? I value all of you that are in the pod. I value each one of you because each one of you I've gotten to meet personally. Some people I don't know like that, like Mr. Duck. Haven't seen him in a while. I still owe him a phone call, and I'm gonna do that this weekend. I'm gonna do. I've been just so busy. I'm gonna call him out of the blue, but you know what I mean. All of us out here, we need to help each other, and this is what this platform is about: helping each other, batting around ideas, and doing that. And I love you all. I am over time. I've been on this joint for almost an hour, and I try to keep it like 45 minutes because I don't want to bore you guys. But peace and love. Wednesday, 7:30, we will be talking about the TV shows that I am watching. Bring your shows. I know there's a lot of you that have the shows. Keita, we're going to talk about Outlander. Des, we're going to talk about Mormon Wives. Alex Cross, all these other shows. If you're interested, please come and join us. We're going to be here. Same thing on Fridays because we love that. That's the focus of the podcast. But on Mondays, we do advice. Next week, we're going to have the phone lines open so you can call in. That's what's up. Peace, love. It's always like that. Each one of you, I appreciate you all. Like and